Yeah.
So today you went live and did a bit of a presentation, which you worked very, very hard on, and
Well,
it's
yeah,
hopefully you're going to present that with us now, if you're okay with that.
yeah, sure. Yeah, essentially, I went live this morning. I was doing some work for the debate this evening. I thought you was going live this afternoon, actually. So I was busy working away, and I thought, well, why don't I just show everybody what it is that we actually do behind the scenes. So I'll present in a moment, and
Don't want to interrupt, but can you guys hear me?
I can
Yeah,
hear you.
we're
Yeah.
here, Chocolate. Thanks for being here.
What's
Sorry,
up?
I didn't want to interrupt John. I did forget to say hello, so sorry.
No, no, oh no, it's all good. What's going on, guys?
Right,
Hi,
you're up,
chocolate. All
Ranty.
right.
We're ready when you are.
Right, so essentially, this image that I'm showing on screen now is what I put together live on a live stream this morning, and it's something that I would have probably presented and maybe a 5 minute segment of the show. But to actually put this together probably took around about 35-40 minutes to actually get to some kind of answer as to what the angular size was of these turbines and where they would terminate as regards to perspective. So you can check that out, the full video. I do it. I put this composite together and then put all this writing on, and I work it all out. Essentially, this turbine here, which has a hub height of 246 feet, judging by angular size reduction and following this red line as I scroll in, I'll show you this red line coming down, and I've put the termination here where it meets the horizon at 22.34 miles. We figured out that using Metabunk's Earth curve calculator, the hidden should be 240 feet at a distance of 22.234 miles, viewer height 7 feet. Curve calculators say 240 feet. Well, what a coincidence that the perspective actually matches up with the hub height of 246 feet.
Wow.
And you know,
Nice.
this was live, this was done today, it was on the fly kind of thing, but I thought I would show everybody how I actually got to this result, how we work it out, how we use Google Earth to determine the position of the turbines, my exact location, which is here with the GPS coordinates. I use video to prove my location and elevation above sea level. And essentially, we're working on these turbines here, this row. And as we're looking down this row from this angle, the terminator line would roughly be about here for these particular turbines, because these turbines are smaller in height than these turbines behind the different wind farm. So the terminator line, which would be here, say there to there, would actually be consistent with the curve calculators. Now, you can look at it that either way. You can either say, well, that proves the globe Earth because it's consistent with the globe Earth. But what you've got to factor in then is if I've ran them through the center of the hubs and we've got an exponential drop on the globe model, then that wouldn't work for them. The only way it works and we get a consistent to within 6 feet is if it's on a flat plane. And this is the perspective argument that I don't think people understand. And I'm also going to do a little presentation on the fly here. This is an image that I just brought up on from a. I'll show you here actually. Wind turbines. So I just put wind turbines in. Just found an image that looked nice, and I'm going to work with this image here. So this is a perspective view of the wind turbines. It's very similar to the ones I've been showing with the lamp posts going down the street. And as you can see in the distance, they get smaller and smaller as they go away. So I'm going to try and replicate that on this here. I put the first turbine in, and every one of these turbines now is 75% reduced. Sorry, 25% reduced. So it's only 75% height of the one previous to this. So I'm going to just stick them in, and I'm going to show you how this actually works out. So we're going to pop that down to here. This is like a live what we work on. So just bear with me whilst I put all these in. But essentially, as you see, that they're getting smaller as they go away in distance, as exactly as it is shown on these particular ones here. So we get to a point where we're down to a very, very small turbine in the distance. So let's copy that one, and we're going to pop it in here. Right. So there we have the very smallest. It's incredibly hard to see because it is so small, because it's gone so far in the distance, right? And now what we're going to do is put a little bit of obstruction in. Now this is only hang on, what size is this image resize? So this is a width of 3000 with 5 pixels in height. Right, that's all it is. It's only 5 pixels in height. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to pop this as the obstruction. Now you can call it, you could say it was a wave, you could say it was the dirty air, or whatever you choose to say. But at some point, they will blend into each other. So let me crop this out now. Where are we? So I'm going to crop that out. Enlarging it so you can see it. Do it by 500. Now you can see that the blade is actually touching this down here. You can actually see that if the blade was turning around, it would be touching the wave or the water or whatever you would choose to see it in the images. So when I show you an image like this, where are we? Like this image here, and I zoom in, and we see these in the distance where they are touching the water. We see the blade is touching the water. That's all consistent with perspective. So if I crop this out so you can see it hopefully a little bit larger, and then we'll resize that again.
Yeah, so the white part that you added in is basically the optical slant. It's the sea being reflected up.
Yes, I've put a very, very small layer of dirty air, which I've choose to call it. You could even say it was a 6-inch wave. If there was a 6-inch wave on the water and you're looking over 18 miles, it would block out the bottom of the turbine, just like this.
And would appear to be like it would be the apparent horizon.
Yep, and as the blade is turning around, it would touch the water. So all those people that say that perspective won't allow you to see this in an image is talking rubbish. Absolutely talking rubbish. You can actually see the dirty air along here. You can actually see it.
And just to compare the two photographs, this one that you took, it is very long distance and then basically zoomed in. The other picture was taken pretty close by, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. This
so
one,
it's much closer to the actual objects, so they don't have as much.
This one is probably half a mile away from the turbines. That's probably taken half a mile. This one, I think it was 13 miles to the big ones, and to the ones behind it was about 20 miles away. So the ones that are smaller in the distance are 20 miles away. The big ones in the foreground, 13 miles away. And this is at almost maximum zoom to get these. And obviously, at some point, they will become small enough due to their angular size that they would disappear completely. There would come a point where you couldn't reduce their angular size anymore to just be a pixel. They would just be a pixel on the horizon.
If they wouldn't just be blurred out by the air.
No, I mean, if I go to this last image here, so this is the last one that I put in, and if I was to resize this again by percentage to 75%, again, its width now has gone to 13 pixels and height is 15 pixels. If I reduced it to 50%, hang on, 50%, it's now down to 9 pixels and 10 pixels. We're talking pixels here. So just through the angular change, at some point, it would become impossible to even see them.
And considering we see a consistent fold line with usually an inferior mirage below it, and that absolutely does obscure anything of equal height behind it, you can say categorically that you can have perspective obscuring things in the distance exactly as we see them. And because they fall in line with this calculator, sorry, I'll just resize my screen a little bit. Because they fall in line with your measurements that perfectly demonstrate perspective, we can say categorically that they have co-opted perspective and called it curvature.
In the calculator, at least.
Indeed, I mean, it can't be any coincidence that the curve calcs actually match up by putting a line through the center of the hubs in the straight line, and the terminate at the same distance, the same height, everything's consistent. Like you say, they have co-opted angular size reduction for curvature.
Wow.
Thank you very much. That's today's presentation on that.
Absolutely awesome, Ranty. That really, really was